Okay. All right. Hi, guys. I'm going to be interviewing Sharmarke Ahmed today. He's a content creator who makes podcasts and videos for YouTube. I first ran across Sharmarke across Bumble, and we started talking about his podcast about books, which was called Inspire Reads, and he's now moved on to creating YouTube videos. Do you want to say hello to everyone, Shamake?
Yeah, sure, sure. It was funny how the first time you said my name and then the second time it got really better.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
because I was reading off the paper. That's why.
it was like Sham, and then the second time it was just flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my name is Shamaki. And yeah, I've like if I had said I was doing um content creating for like almost 2 years now or something like that, where I started off doing a podcast with my friend, where we would talk about a book every single week, come up with a book, discuss the book, and then pretty much the same week talk about it, and then just like put it out there. And then obviously initially we just thought that like no one would like really be listening to it. So when we put it on like SoundCloud and we saw that there was like more than the 20 of our friends that we asked to listen, like listening, we was already like shocked, like, wow, people are actually out here like listening. And then as time moved on, we had more people join our podcast, um, and who are other creative people as well, who on their own side are also doing creative stuff. So then that sort of inspired me to basically um, start my own YouTube channel, to kind of just, I guess, express my creativity even more.
Yeah, so kind of moving on to the stuff that you're doing on YouTube, it's kind of I want to describe it as slice of life stuff. You kind
Yeah,
of talking about looking at football tactics while you're in lockdown, and then kind of train journeys. So what's kind of the what type of content are you looking to create, and kind of you know what's what's your motivation for kind of doing that?
you know what? It's actually really crazy, and it's a really good question that you asked because, like, when you're doing content creating, or like, I don't know, I keep saying it like that. When you're like creating content and like I'll be watching like loads of YouTube videos about like like good ways to start a YouTube channel, right? And in those like YouTube episodes, there'll always be like find your niche, find your core audience, know who you're looking to target, um, and, like all these other words,
Yeah,
in order for your YouTube channel to like kind of grow. And and then as for me, it was like um, I was trying to like because my videos are very sporadic and very like sort of random. Like one time it would be about like you said, me missing football and talking about football. Another time it would be like me doing like a dalgona like coffee challenge. And it was just like kind of sort of all over the place because I just would like doing sort of like random videos, like whatever comes into my mind, um, is pretty much what like I'd want to upload. But then I realized that in order to become more sort of, I guess, successful, you'd need to find some sort of like market to fall under. Um,
yes, yeah, I completely understand that. When I started this podcast, my idea was to do a new format every week, and I quickly ran out of ideas.
yeah,
And yeah, I think when you're trying to create stuff, it is sometimes just a matter of throwing stuff against the wall until you
yeah,
find something that you're kind of comfortable doing on a regular basis, and I haven't quite found that yet with this podcast. And I'm sure you're kind of on the similar journey where you're trying to find something where doing the hard work in terms of editing and finding collaborators is easy, because
Yeah,
it's difficult. Yeah,
yeah, it is. It is. It is difficult, and especially like what sort of made it easier with the podcast, which was before it was called like Inspire Reads, but then now we kind of changed it to the Paper Trails podcast. But and there's a reason for that. It was called Inspire Reads because, like I said before, like we would just read like a book, and in terms of finding the market, in terms of creating content, that was like very sort of simple and straightforward, I guess, because our market was um, people that could like read. Not people that could read, people that like reading, people that enjoy reading, and would like to hear a review on a certain book. Um, on top of that, because there are so many books in the world, that coming up with content is just simply saying, "Oh, let's just read this book." It's not a thing where you're constantly having to come up with ideas. Whereas now we changed it to paper trails. The reason why we did it was because as we all creatively grew, like one of my friends is a graphics designer, another one of my friends like a video editor, another one is like an aspiring writer, another one's an aspiring actor, and which is all like on different fields of like the creative world. So it was like, let's just sort of merge like those kind of experiences, our kind of experiences, and put that also on podcast. Um, and that kind of sometimes leads to us not having ideas in terms of what to necessarily like record next. But like you said, yeah, I'm at that point now. I'm kind of throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. But I think the more route that I'm slowly seeing myself taking and taking more is being like a very sort of like creative host channel where like I want to give more advice to like other creatives, other people that are trying to either start up on podcasts or YouTube, um, and then just kind of be like a helping tool for them as well as like someone whose content that they can enjoy. And
yeah,
that's like sort of the plan, but obviously it's a lot easier said than done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly the point. I think that's a good. This is a good point to jump into the questions.
Yeah.
So the first question I'm going to ask you, because some of these questions are weird. What is your safety word? So if I'm asking you a question that you're not comfortable answering, I'll start asking that question.
Yeah, safety word, riddle me that.
Riddle. So I'll just write that down. Riddle me that. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask you is this. I was once asked to leave a poker game because the smell of my farts was so foul that the other players found it distracting. Can you tell me about a time that you've been asked to leave somewhere?
Oh no, that's bad. That's bad. It was distracting. It's
Yeah.
one thing
So
when
what it was straight after kind of Ramadan,
yeah.
and like my gut hadn't got used to digesting food again. And
Oh,
bro, there it was bad. It was bad,
oh
and
no,
it was
that's
regular too. It's kind of like a
regular.
fart. Yeah, it's like a fart every 2 or 3 minutes, so like the
You
smell
know what
wouldn't like
it is
diffuse.
like at this point in time, it was your fault for not understanding that and not taking the precautions beforehand of saying, you know what, this is bad, but for to be asked to leave, that's bad. That's bad. That means you knew what was happening and then decided, hey, you know what, maybe it isn't that bad in your head, and then take
You
point.
know what? I did find I just found it so funny because that's some of the worst farts I've ever done. and I
Oh,
just found it hilarious. I just thought
oh god.
people just looking at me. I just like, oh yeah, okay, all right, fine,
Oh,
fair enough.
sheesh, wow. Um, Great example of that. There was some time where someone asked me to leave. Nah, I don't really have like a moment in time where someone's actually asked me to leave.
But
Uh, Not for something like embarrassing, I guess. One time I might have,
it can be for any reason, kind of
yeah, I
like if
might
you
have
and
like I've caused like an argument one time, and then uh it was just kind of got escalated, and then other people started getting involved. And the next thing I knew, my friends were like all in some next heated argument, and then they were like, "You started this, leave," and that was the
okay, that's fair. That's fair enough. My next question is this: my friend who is Muslim
yeah.
had dancing girls at his wedding. The
Mm,
fairly conservative
geez.
Muslim guests were
Yeah.
stunned. What is the most unexpected thing that you've seen at a wedding?
Mm. I would say, okay, yeah, this was a bit very unexpected. So one time we're waiting, like, sort of in like the hall to kind of wait for like the groom to come out with like his family and whatnot, and then and then there was like this old guy that just walked into the middle, and it just looked like he was trying to just find the seat, and then
Yeah,
next thing you know, he just burst into dance, and it was like the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like a traditional dance in their culture, um,
yeah,
and then like I've never seen that kind of dance before, and I've never seen an old man that was small as well like move as fluid and as flexible like that in my life, and I just that shook me. That's what it did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'm glad to
So
realize as well that I feel like I have a very boring life. Either that or I'm not remembering some of the interesting
you,
stuff that's happened to
you
me.
know what? I'm 38 years old, so I've got kind of a lot of years on you in terms of collecting strange
Strange.
things that have happened to me. So,
Yeah.
how old are you, by the way?
23.
Yeah. So yeah, still young, man, and still time to collect some interesting stories. Let me ask this childhood question then. Um, I used to play a game called Slipper Wars with my brothers. We would gather all the shoes and slippers in the air in a house
Yeah.
and throw them at each other. What is the most dangerous, stupid thing you did as a child to amuse yourself?
Wow. As painful as we just said sounds, it also sounds very fun.
Yeah,
I'd feel like I'd low key want to try even now, but I don't know if I could convince my brothers that'd be a good idea. Something dangerous, something dangerous. There was a point where there was like this old GP building near my house, and me and my friends would like challenge ourselves to climb it, and
yeah,
the way that we would climb it was like there was this one tree that you'd have to sort of climb and then go on top of the building, which was always like kind of dangerous because the tree wasn't like very stable. But I feel like that's a very boring example. I've done many sort of crazy things as a kid. That I'm trying to. Okay. It was like the slippers one, but it's kind of worse. Um,
yeah,
where like we would be on either side of like some like field thing that had like these little like rock shelters, and we decided, you know what, it would be fun if we had two teams of like two on either side, and then we just threw stones.
oh, dude,
Yeah,
that's not sensible.
that's that. Yeah, yeah. We quickly realized it wasn't. And then yeah, that's pretty much one that I can think of. I can't really think of like
Yeah, okay,
yeah,
that's
these are really brutal, man.
well, I think stones are a lot. a lot worse than slippers. You know, kind of a hard heel can hurt, but you can break a bone or something if you throw a
Yeah,
rock
yeah,
at someone, man.
yeah, yeah. To be fair, they weren't really um like these fixed stones. They were kind of like these weird flattened things, which I don't know if it's worse or. But yeah, yeah, it was an interesting time, and it happened once because we realized how dumb it was. But yeah, that's definitely on the list.
Um, okay, my next question is: I once got into the wrong car while waiting for a lift. Can you tell me about a time where you went to the wrong place?
Well, I've always sort of wanted to know as well when people say, "Oh, I've gone to the wrong car." Was it like for like an Uber where you kind of thought it was the wrong thing?
No. Okay, so what the situation was, while I was working for a law firm, I
Yeah,
was supposed to get a lift from the client to go somewhere, and he called me on my mobile phone and he said, I'm in the red car parked around the corner.
yeah,
So I go around the corner and I get into the first red car, and it's just these two strangers who've never seen me before. And I
yeah.
get in the back seat, and they're looking at me and they say, "Do you normally get in the back seat of strangers' car?" And I hightailed it out of there, man. So that was what my situation was.
Oh God. I just find those kind of situations so funny because it's like the thing that I'm thinking about is also like when you open a car and sit down, like, do you say anything like, "Oh, hey guys, sorry I'm late," or is it like just a silent? You just sit in the back and then just was like, "Oh, this is this is awkward."
No, it was pretty much straight away.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
but it's their fault for leaving their their rear car door open.
just open
They need to be expecting weirdos like me to try and get in the back seat.
every time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I'm definitely gonna tell my friends the next time they come to pick me up to make sure that they lock their doors until they see me. Just in case
Yeah.
my head's about. Yeah, there's been several times. There's uh like there's a place called North Finchley and a place called Finchley Road, which for a bit it was
Oh no,
confusing.
no, bro, bro.
Um, yeah, and I was told to like meet on Finchley Road, and I made my way to North Finchley, thinking, you know what, how far can Finchley be away from North Finchley, you know? Um,
Yeah,
I was like, if I'm in the north, then I just go down south, and I should find this Finchley Road thing. But no, that wasn't the case. It was far from it actually. And
yeah,
then like it was a thing where my friend actually needed my help, and I missed out. And then another time it was actually for one of my friends, his dad's like funeral, and then he told me to meet him at a subway on like a road like in like Whetstone, and like as I was no a road like a subway, that's what it was. But then he said it was around Whetstone, so as I was like sort of on the bus and whatnot, like I didn't see subway not until I got way past it to like a place in High Barnet, and then I saw the thing
oh
there. And then I was like, "Yo, I'm in front of it," and he was like, "Oh, like where are you?" Found out that I was like a while away, and then he was like, "Yo, like we can't wait, like
yeah.
we got a thing." And
Sounds like you were on the 34 there. If you're going through like Whetstone
yeah, actually, to be
to
fair,
Hypo, yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
was the 234. Um,
yeah.
I was
That's
there.
one of my regular buses is as well. Uh, let's try this question. A judge once told me that a consent order that I had drafted was so badly written that it was likely to leave my firm open to a negligence claim in the hundreds and thousands.
Oh,
Thankfully, the client wasn't in court, and I didn't tell my boss.
yeah.
What is the biggest mistake that you've made and not told anyone about?
Oof. Wow. That's serious. hundreds of thousands of pounds. Wow. What have I done? Oh yes. Actually, no, but I did tell my boss. Well, they kind of had to find out. Um, but I'd say one thing. I was like working at Krispy Kreme, and one thing that happened was that there was this massive order for like a wedding, where they ordered in like 500 donuts. Um,
Oh wow,
yeah, 500
flipping heck!
single original glazed donuts. Um, and when I came into the store, I didn't see what's it called, any of the donuts there. But my manager called me to say, oh, there should be. So in my head, I was like, okay, maybe it's upstairs. But I was the only one in the shop floor. And usually, when you're the only one on the shop floor, you can't leave. So I said to myself, you know what? Let me just quickly go upstairs and grab the the boxes if they are up there, and then bring them down. So I go up there, I bring the boxes down, and then I think in that time that I was upstairs, which was like 10, 15 minutes, that the person whose order it was came, because we found out later on that they called head office and they said we came for our donuts, like £500 worth, um, and no one was there to give it. It was like a massive thing, and and then yeah, that got it eventually got cleared up. But like that's, I would say, in terms of like finance, that was like a massive thing. But one thing that I've hidden that I've done, uh, that's like you know when you have like kind of a few examples, but nothing is coming to your head.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
that's all right. We can move on to the
yeah,
next question and come back to it
yeah.
if you want. Okay, so let's try this one. Um, while volunteering at Omnibus Theatre, a group of my fellow volunteers started making funny voices while talking to each other.
Mm.
I wanted to join in but didn't because I felt shy. I've always regretted this. Can you tell me about a time you wanted to join in and do something but didn't, and why?
Yeah, okay. Okay. I don't know if this was the one I was on, but an example, one that I have is in uni there was like a, a debating society thing, and they were having like a proper like it went from the usual like debating in class, like having like a proper like debating thing at like temple, and it was the thing that like I really 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 wanted to do, because I wanted to like sort of, I guess, test my sort of debating skills out properly. um and then as it got closer to the time and they were asking me, do you want to come, do you want to come, like my nerves kept kicking in, um to like a point where I was like, oh no no no, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. And then like the day came for like the Bay thing, which happens at a place called Temple. The day came and went so fast, and I was just regretting every single moment of it, because I was like, why did I not, why did I not participate in it? And then that's the one I kind of realized that like, if it is something that you've wanted to do beforehand, before you got like anxious or before you got nervous to do it, afterwards it's a thing which you're always gonna sort of like regret. So like, to whether you feel anxious or nervous in the time, like sort of my mantra now is to just kind of do it, because I feel a lot more relieved that I did rather than I didn't do it.
Yeah, I think that's certainly, and yeah, as I've grown older, is I often regret the things I haven't done rather than the things that I have, and
Yeah,
I've bottled lots of things. You know, there's like jiu-jitsu competitions that I've gone to where I've kind of bottled it and pulled out at the last minute, and it's just, it's one of those things that they don't really teach you how to do at school.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't think kind of people from kind of like immigrant communities talk about with their children is about how to conquer nerves and
yeah,
get over self doubt.
Yeah,
And I think that's something that really needs to be addressed because everyone gets nervous.
yeah. That's the thing, because it's like everyone sort of gets nervous, but for that extra bit of like encouragement, or to to basically get people through the understanding of, like, let's say it's a dark tunnel and you're on one side, and you feel like you can't um make it through, and you can see like the light on the other side, because you feel like deep down inside you would enjoy it, because otherwise there would be no reason for you to actually want to take part in the activity. But then there's like that dark tunnel in between, and it's just full of fears and anxieties and doubts and all these things. But like no one teaches you that like 99% of it is in your head. Um, and the thing that you're gonna enjoy the most is on the other side of the tunnel, and you'll never
Yes.
know that unless you force yourself to go through that tunnel. And
Yeah.
it can be a very like a challenging thing at times, like mentally, but it's always a thing where, like, in life, even if you come across like serious challenges to reach a certain goal, once you're done, then you can look back on like the stuff that you've overcome. It even makes you wanna, it makes you feel like it puts the pleasure like on like double fold of what you would have experienced if you didn't have to go through any of the challenges. Um, like this is like this is like a really dumb example, but it's like I play a game called Football Manager, and
Yeah.
in Football Manager at the beginning I'll just pick teams like Manchester United, um, which have got like a crazy spending budget of like 300 million, and you just buy all the best players, and then you win everything and it's all fun. But then I I decided to opt for another team like Everton, which doesn't have that kind of budget, where you actually have to work on the training of the like the team and all of that to like actually win places. And I actually like, with every achievement that I got with Everton, it felt a lot better than with every achievement that I got with when I was with like Manchester United, because I felt like it was a lot easier with Manchester United than like with Everton. It felt like, I came across these challenges, therefore I am like more competent than I thought I was. And even though that's just from Football Manager, it's like kind of taking it onto life. When you get past that dark tunnel of like anxieties and fears, then you're like, oh, you know what? I am a lot stronger than what I thought I was. That, like, sometimes I say to myself like, oh, if I did go to that temple thing, and unless I did do well, that would have shattered all of my doubts and fears that I had previously. But again, yeah, like I said, it's a thing of like where I came across that tunnel and I said, nah, I'm not gonna do it this time. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's kind of a interesting topic in a lot of ways because I think anxiety is a lot about um, wondering if people are going to look at you and think you're stupid or you're a failure. And most of the time, people are too busy with their own shit to
no one cares. That's
care about what you're doing.
yeah, yeah.
And it's all in your own head. But it's very difficult to have that conversation with yourself.
Even with my YouTube channel, like I had videos ready, but I didn't want to post it because I felt like I was just gonna get judged. I felt like all my friends, not just the immediate friends, but like um, friends of friends, people that knew me, anyone would just be like, "Ah, that like it's just Sharmarke now. He's just a YouTuber guy." Or like they'll just find my videos like cringe and not tell me. But like there was just so many things going through my head, and I was like, the moment I put a video up, it's just gonna be like filled with like sort of comments like what the hell is this? Like what? I don't understand. And then when I put the video up, I realized like no one cares. Like is no one is like sitting up every day just wondering what I'm posting or ready to like say something about it. The way like, and I always put myself in the shoes of like someone else that would make something. Like I wouldn't be, if I come across it, I'll check it out. But like if I don't come across it, then it's not like I'm always thinking about what they're doing and ready to like bring on hate or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was an interesting realization that like no one cares about what it is that you're essentially doing.
Yeah, which is it's a good thing and it's a bad thing
Yeah,
because because no one cares. It's kind of like you also think that um, put all this effort into this thing and like no one's paying attention. But then at the same time, it's also good then because it's kind of freeing in terms of you being able just to create what you want to create. Um,
yeah.
I'll ask you a couple more questions and then we'll uh, finish. So, as I've grown older,
Yeah.
I have grown hairy werewolf ears. I either have to trim these or pluck them out. What is the most tiresome part of your self grooming regime?
I don't know. Yeah, but wow, now I was saying the is that's the interesting one.
That's gonna happen to you when you get older,
I will
man.
say
Like
that.
the ears will get bigger and they'll get, start hair growing out of them.
Oh no, no, don't say that. Jeez, I mean, yeah, See, that's something which I have never thought of happening. I mean, me losing hair, my hairline receding, like stuff like that. Yeah, but like a hairy ear. I mean, that must make it uncomfortable to like sleep and stuff, no?
Well, I trim them on a regular basis, and they're only like soft hair. It's not like
Yeah,
the hard bristles of a beard. It's
yeah,
just kind of like the softer hair you get on your arm.
yeah. I was just trying to make a silly joke. Yeah, nah, I would say my hair. I have like a massive afro now, which I've just been growing for like 2 years, and that one tends to be a bit of a problem sometimes. Like, cause when it's untangled, it's all fine. I can just like rough up my hair and then like kind of leave. But then
Yeah.
all like tangled up and like looks like I'm in having a constant electric shock. That's when it's difficult. That's when it's difficult because it's like every morning when I wake up, I don't know if my hair is gonna work with me today, or I don't know if my hair isn't gonna work with me, and
Yeah.
it's a constant thing of like, okay, cool. I wonder what it's gonna be. So every morning is a challenge. To be fair, there isn't like a morning where I'm like, my hair should be alright to kind of go, or like it's just kind of like I put my fingers through it. And I'm like, yes, okay, it's working with me today. Sometimes it's like, no, it's not. I have to bring out comb. Yeah, yeah, it's just so long. It's a lot more difficult to maintain than obviously when I had like shorter hair. Because when I had shorter hair, I'll just be up and out of bed, wash my face, and then I could essentially be good to go.
So this is a part of the kind of Afro-Caribbean experience that I wasn't aware of until quite recently. So
Yeah,
I'm a beta reader for a web comic about a girl that starts a web blog about how to deal with her afro
yeah,
and like all the different steps that you have to kind of like go through to maintain it so you don't get breaks and
yeah.
it doesn't get tangled and all that stuff is just like wow man that's a
It's,
lot of effort.
it's a
That's
lot.
a lot of effort.
And I'd actually be very interested in sort of reading that, because I'm not, despite having the Afro for like 2 years, I'm still not well trained or well versed in the world of Afros. Um, like I'm not really
Yeah,
well
she had
my hair.
so many different steps, man. It's just like pre-shampoo. You have to put all this. I just thought, wow, man.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
got. I'm happy. I've just got. Well, I've not got any hair at the moment, but when I did have hair, it was just
yeah,
like straight.
yeah. No, this is an interesting one because it's like dense. which makes it like difficult when, especially when it's like tangled. Like my hair goes through like very weird phases where when it's like washed, then it goes like, then it falls and it goes really curly, and then as it dries up, it curls backwards and back and back and back until it like kind of comes up to meet each other's like an afro. And after a bit, they all like, hey man, let's buddy up, and then they start tangling, and then yeah, and you know, people tell me about different steps in the hair care routines, and one guy was telling me that when he had an afro, that he would sleep on a satin pillowcase. Some people say that they sleep with like a bonnet, like so many,
Yeah, this
so many.
this girl that she mentioned in sleeping in the bonnet. I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, you have to like keep the moisture and stuff like that you put in there because once you put it on the pillow and like you go left and right, like it absorbs all the moisture. Stuff which I had no idea. Like I was just growing it out because I thought it looked cool. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've come to realize that it's not easy to maintain at all.
Okay, so this is my last question. Would you like to add a question for me to ask my future guests?
And with your like future kids, is like your podcast a thing where you have where you like have any sort of guest, or is it like in a specific
It's
category?
going to be kind of any sort of guest. I mean, I might only do this format for another couple of episodes. So whatever you, it can be wild. Anything you want.
Anything? Because like I had this idea for like Instagram where when the world reopens and stuff again, that I'll just ask people like just calling it like 60 seconds with sharks, um, where I just ask them like weird questions and like not weird questions, but like just weird and interesting questions, or like that they could quickly answer in like 60 seconds. But I'll try, and I wrote down a list of what those questions are, and I'll see if I can see a good one to actually use. Okay, I've got like two. I
Yeah.
don't want to read through the whole list in case because it'll take too much time. But one would be like if you could add a word to the dictionary, what would you add, and what would it mean? And then secondly, like if you became like hella successful, what product would you not promote?
Okay, I'm going to add those two questions to the list. Okay, so are you, apart from the YouTube channel and the podcast, are there any interesting projects you'd like to let my audience know about?
No, not at the moment. No,
Okay,
the only projects that, like I said before, I'd have up and coming would be like on my Instagram, but that's far from being done yet. So at the moment, I don't really have anything else.
so I'm doing a course on podcasts at the moment,
Yeah.
and have you heard uh the podcast No Such Thing as Fish?
No.
Okay, so it's like it's quite a successful podcast, and one of the guys on there is going on Instagram, and he's interviewing people about what weird shit they've got on their house. So just just throw it out there, man.
Yeah.
You never know where it might lead.
Yeah.
So so
What? Sorry, were you asking me like what weird thing I would have in my house?
no, I was just saying
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
what the guy's doing. So he'll get celebrities on, and because it's in lockdown, he'll just kind of like interview them on Instagram Live and say, "All right, can you show me around your house? What weird stuff
Ah,
you've got?"
yeah, that sounds really cool.
So like, if you've got an idea for doing something on Instagram Live, then just go for it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Okay, man. Where can we find you on social media?
So on social media, my Instagram handle is sharks.oa, which is SHARKS. KZ.OA.
Okay,
Yeah,
and thank you very much for coming aboard. I'll include
yeah,
links to your podcast and your YouTube channel in the notes, man.
nah.
Take care, brother.